Magicians Pupil. There was once a peasant who had a son whom, when of a proper age, his father apprenticed to a trade. But the boy, who had no inclination for work, always ran home again to his parents. And this the father was much troubled, not knowing what course to pursue. One day he entered a church where, after repeating the Lord's Prayer, he said, "To what trade shall I apprentice my son?" He runs away from every place. The clerk, who happened at that moment to be standing behind the altar, hearing the peasant utter these words, called out in answer, "Teach him witchcraft." The peasant, who did not see the clerk, thought it was our Lord who gave him this advice, and determined upon following it. The next day he said to his son that he should go with him, and he would find him a new situation. After walking a good way into the country, they met with a shepherd tending his flock. "Where are you going to, good man?" inquired the shepherd. "I am in search of a master who can teach my son the black art," answering the peasant. "You may soon find him," said the shepherd. "Keep straight on, you will come to the greatest wizard that is to be found in the land." The peasant thanked him for his information and went on. Soon after he came to a large forest, in the middle of which stood the wizard's house. He knocked at the door and answered the troll man whether he had any inclinations to take a boy as a pupil. "Yes," answered the others, "but not for less term than 4 years. And we will make this agreement, that at the end of that time you shall come, and if you can find your son, he shall belong to you. But should you not be able to discover him, he must remain in my house and serve me for the rest of his life." The peasant agreed to these conditions and returned home alone. At the end of the week, he began to look for his son's return, thinking that in this, as in all former cases, he would run away from his master. But he did not come back, and his mother began to cry and say her husband had not acted righteously in giving their child into the power of the evil one, and that they should never see him again. After 4 years had elapsed, the peasant set out on a journey to the magicians according to their agreement. A little before he reached the forest, he met the same shepherd, who instructed him how to act so as to get his son back. "When you get there," said he, "you must at night keep your eyes constantly turned towards the fireplace, and take care not to fall asleep, for the troll man will convey you back to your own house. And afterward, say you did not come at the appointed time, you will see 3 dogs in the yard, eating milk porridge out of a dish. The middle one is your son, and he is the one you must choose." The peasant thanked the shepherd for his information and bade him farewell. When he entered the house of the magicians, everything took place as the shepherd had said. He was conducted in the yard, where he saw 3 dogs. 2 of them were handsome with smooth skin, but the third one was lean and looked ill. When the peasant patted the dog, the 2 handsome ones growled at him, but the lean one, on the contrary, wagged his tail. "Canst thou now tell which of these 3 dogs is his son?" said the troll man. "If so, thou canst take him with thee. If not, he belongs to me." "Well then, I will choose the one that appears the most friendly," answering the peasant. "Although he looks less handsome than the others, that is a sensible choice," said the troll man. He knew that he was about who gave that advice. The peasant was then allowed to take his son home with him. So putting a cord round his neck, he went his way, bewailing till his son was changed into a dog. "Oh, why are you bewailing so?" asked the shepherd as he came out of the forest. "It appears to me you have not been so very unlucky." When he had gone a little ways, the dog said to him, "Now you shall see that my learning has been on some use to me. I will soon change myself into a little tiny dog, and then you must sell me to those who are coming past. The dog did as he said, and became a beautiful little creature. Soon after, a carriage came rolling along with some great folks in it. When they saw the beautiful little dog that ran playing along the road and heard that it was for sale, they bought it off the peasant for a considerable sum. And at the same moment the son changed his father into a hare, which he caused to run through the road. While he was taken up by those who had bought him, when they saw the hare, they set the dog after it, and scarcely had they done so, then both hare and dog ran into the woods and disappeared. Now the boy changed himself again, and this time both he and his father assumed human form. The old man began cutting twigs, and his sons helped him. When the people in the carriage missed the little dog, they got out to seek after it, and asked the old man and his son if they had seen anything of a little dog that had ran away. The boy directed them further into the woods, and he and his father returned home and lived well on the money they had received by selling the dog. When all the money was spent, both father and son resolved upon going out again in search of adventure. Now I will turn myself into a boar, said the youth, and you must put a cord round my leg and take me to Wholeson's market for sale. But remember to throw the cord over my right ear at the moment you'll sell me, and then I shall be home again as soon as you. The peasant did as his son directed him and went to market, but he set so high a price on the boar that no one would buy it. So he continued standing in the market till the afternoon was far advanced. At length there comes an old man who brought the boar of himself. This was not other than the magician, who angrily that the father had got his son back, had never ceased seeking after them from the time they had left his home. When the peasant had sold his boar, he threw the cord over its right ear, as the lad had told him, and in the same moment the animal vanished. And when he reached his own door, he again saw his son sitting at the table. They now lived a pleasant, married life until all the money was spent, and then again set out on fresh adventures. This time the son changed himself into a bull, first reminding his father to throw the rope over his right ear as soon as he was sold. At the market he met with the same old man, and soon came to an agreement with him about the price of the bull. While they were drinking a glass together in the alehouse, the father threw the rope over the bull's right ear, and when the magician went to fetch his purchase, it had vanished. And the peasant, upon reaching home again, found his son sitting by his mother at the table. The third time the lad turned himself into a horse, and the magician was again in the market and bought him. Thy haste already tricked me twice, said he to the peasant, but it shall not happen again. Before he paid down the money, he hired a stable and fastened the horse in, so that it was impossible for the peasant to throw the rein over the animal's right ear. The old man nevertheless returned home in the hopes that this time also he should find his son, but he was disappointed, for no lad was there. The magician in the meantime mounted the horse and rode off. He well knew whom he had bought, and determined that the boy shall pay for his life the deception he had practiced upon him. He led the horse through swamps and pools and galloped at a pace that, had he long continued it, he must have ridden the animal to death. But the horse was a hard trotter, and the magician, being old, he had at last found he had got his master, and was therefore obliged to ride home. When he arrived at his house, he put a magical bridle on the horse and shut him in a dark stable without giving him anything either to eat or drink. When some time has elapsed, he said to the servant maid, "Go out and see how the horse is." When the girl came into the stable, the metamorphosed boy, who had been the girl's sweetheart while he was in the troll house, began to moan piteously and begged him to give him a pail of water. She did so, and on her return told her master that the horse was well. Some time after he began desired her to go out and see if the horse was not yet dead. When she entered the stable, the poor animal begged her to loose the rein and the girths, which were strapped so tight that he could hardly breathe. The girl did as she was requested, and no sooner was it done than the boy changed himself into a hare and ran out the stable. The magician, who was sitting in the window, was immediately aware of what happened on seeing the hare go sprinting across the yard, and instantly changing himself into a dog, went into pursuit of it. When they had run many miles over cornfields and meadows, the boy's strength began to fail, and the magician gained more and more upon him. The hare then changed itself into a dove, but the magician as quickly turned himself into a hawk and pursued him of flesh. In this manner, they flew towards a palace where a princess was sitting at the window. When she saw a hawk in chase of a dove, she opened the window, and immediately the dove flew into the window and then changed itself into a gold ring. The magician now became a prince and went into the apartment for the pursuit of catching the dove. When he could not find it, he asked permission to see her golden ring. The princess showed them to him, but let one fall into the fire. The troll man instantly drew it out, in doing which he burnt his fingers and was obliged to let it fall on the floor. The boy now knew of no better course than to change himself into a grain of corn. At the same moment, the magician became a hen in order to eat the corn, but scarcely had he done so than the boy became a hawk and killed him. He then went to the forest and fetched all the magician's gold and silver, and from that day lived in wealth and happiness with his parents. Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. That was a little story. I have like a folklore storybook I want to start reading. I'm not sure if you guys will be interested in that, but that's what I just read. I read one of those. So hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button, turn your post notifications on so you don't miss out. And if you have any more recommendations for different folklores, it can be any. Just please be specific. If it is like for the example I always give, the dog man. For example, I've done a few dogman videos, so if it's something like that, just make sure if you want to see a specific one, just be specific as possible if you can. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching and supporting. I love you guys. Stay safe. I'll see you in the next video.